So every gun shop that you go into, there's always going to be 2 specific brands on the shelf. And when it comes to which one's best, opinions are always divided. So it's time to find out who's the winner, Browning or Beretta. So I have picked 2 guns out of the shop that are as close together as possible. I've got a 686 white Onyx and I've got a 725 S1. Both are 30-inch, 3-inch chambered, multi-choke and steel proof. There's a little bit of weight difference, the Browning coming in the heavier at £8.1, the Beretta coming in at £7.12. Now again, they've both got roughly the same stock lengths, they both handle roughly the same, so the only way to find out, get stuck into some clays. We'll take the Browning first. So I'm going to have a quick shot on the 5-stand and then I'm going to move on to the fit-ass. So I've got the Browning out first. I've only ever shot one of the 725s once before. We did a review on it last year. This is one of the out-and-out sporter models and I do really like it. It's got a nice big palm swell, a long pistol grip that really suits me. It's a touch high in the stock, maybe a little bit short for me. But so far, it's got a really nice feel to it. So we'll get stuck into some clays and see how we get on with it. So far, I really like it. The balance on it is absolutely sublime. It is pretty much bang on the joint pin where it should be. Yes, it's probably a little bit too high. Yes, it's a little bit too short, but it's nothing that isn't sortable by a reputable gunsmith. I really like the ergonomics of the grip. One thing I find with a number of manufacturers, Beretta being one of them, the pistol grips are just slightly too short. And with this, it's the perfect length and it's got that really, really pronounced right-hand palm swell. I never used to be a big fan of the 725. When it first came out, didn't really like it. I wasn't too keen, mainly on just the shape of the action. But I have learnt, I won't say love, but to like. But yeah, I think so far, it's a lovely gun. So we'll have a few more and we'll swap on to the Beretta. So I'm going to move on to the Beretta now. At some point, most of you will have picked up a 686 at some point in your shooting journey. There's not really much to say about them. They're just well put together, reliable guns. The white Onyx is one of the entry-level sporting clays guns, so it's a really, really good starting clay for anybody wanting to get into it. They are a little bit lighter than the Browning. It comes in at sub £8. Again, 30-inch, 3-inch chambered multi-choke. Just a damn well put together gun. So let's go and put this one through its paces. So it's definitely a lot lighter than the Browning in between the hands. Again, balance point is just in front of the joint pin, which it doesn't feel front hand heavy, but it is just about probably half an inch in front of the joint pin. It's definitely, it feels a bit more wafty to me. Now, I am a big fan of heavier guns because I just feel that there's a lot more stability. But for example, on the 3 target here, it just means that you can just whip the gun through the clay nice and quick and get onto it as soon as possible. It's got so much speed about it, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of it is going to be down to personal preference. To me, I prefer something with a little bit more weight, but on targets like that, you've really got to work for them. Whereas that is just absolutely effortless. So we've come over to shoot the FITAS, get a few more variety of targets. I'm going to stick with the Beretta because obviously we've just shot that and I'm sort of getting too used to it. The difficulty with reviews like this is, first of all, swapping between two different guns is quite hard. But second of all, there are a lot of similarities between the two. Now, obviously, each manufacturer has their own little twerk, be it the size, the shape of the action, the barrels, etc., etc. And they are all very, very close to each other. And a lot of this does come down to personal preference and fit. So we'll shoot a few more and we'll see how we get on. Pull. So I am quite swaying towards the Beretta for fit, but the Browning for the feel of it. The Browning just seems to have, I don't know, substance is probably the better word. That little bit more weight, a little bit more positive in the hand, just a better feel. But obviously, again, like I said, fit can all be sorted, but shooting wise it's the Beretta at the moment, but feel wise it's the Browning. So we'll take the Browning out of the FITAS and see if I can get on with it a little bit better. Pull. Now that I've spent a little bit more time with it, I'm swaying towards the Browning. It's just got a bit more of a positive feel to it. It's very hard for me to put into words. I think because of the weight and where the balance is, the gun just feels like it's got a bit more substance, especially being a little bit thicker through the hand. It's very much my style, and this is what a lot of this comes down to, is individuality. It's what suits you. I like the shape of the forend. I can get hold of it, get my finger around it. Nice palm swell, long pistol grip. The gun's just got something about it. It's not numb, it's not dead, it's not too light. It's right in the middle of where it should be, and it's got a really, really lovely feel to it. So a couple more, and we'll go back to the shop, talk about the technical stuff. Pull. Right, we'll very, very quickly go through the specifications. So both guns are 30-inch, 3-inch chambered, multi-choke. The Browning comes in a little bit heavier, as I have mentioned, at £8.2, with a 14.5-inch stock with the shorter pad. The Beretta comes in a little bit lighter at £7.12 and 14.75-inch stock. Now, shooting-wise, it's really, really difficult because both guns on the day had positives and negatives around the targets that we shot. I found that on the 5-stand that we shot, the Beretta definitely performed better on the closer targets. Being that little bit lighter, the weight being out the front end of the gun, it moved very quickly and I could get through a target or out in front of a target very, very quickly. However, on the big, longer targets that we shot on the FITAS, the Browning really shined. I do prefer a heavier gun, and it just felt a lot more, I had better control of the gun. It felt a lot smoother, a lot steadier, just a bit more precise. And especially with the bigger pistol grip, the palm swell, I just felt like I got hold of the gun a bit more. And I think for me, before we go any further, the Browning's probably, it's got to be the winner for me. I did really enjoy shooting it. Yes, it is a little bit high in the comb. Yes, it is a little bit short on the stock, but it's nothing that isn't fixable. It can all be sorted. And that, for me, that more positive feeling to the gun, having more control, it definitely suits my style of shooting. I use a lot of pull away, so being controlled on a target for a period of time to then move away, being able to stick with it and visualize that break point. That for me is really, really important. I think that's why I get on better with stuff that is sort of 8 to 8.5 pounds. The Beretta was lovely to shoot, and it almost felt effortless on the fast targets. You were just onto it, away from it, dead target. Especially on, as I said, the 5 stand, the 3 and the 5. You could just break those targets so incredibly fast. But on the big long targets, I just felt a little bit unwieldy, a little bit out of control with them, because I was potentially driving the gun a little bit too hard for the weight of it. It was coming away from the target too quick, having to slow the gun down. It's very, very difficult. And I've already said this in the video, that doing reviews like this is so hard because the guns are they're so close together, but they're so far apart. There's some really, really good similarities between the guns and obviously some differences. And it'd be really, really nice to just stick the two together and come out with some fancy hybrid, which was the best of both worlds. But obviously it's not the point of doing this video. But for me, there's something positive about the Browning. Just when I picked it up, when we swung it around, before we even shot it, I connected with the gun. It felt right in my hands. And that might happen with the Beretta for you guys out there. It might happen with the Browning. As I've said, it's a lot to do with personal preference. And the main thing with guns like this is obviously it's about picking something off the shelf that fits you, that you haven't got to go away and have fitted. So the majority of the time you find that you are either a Browning or a Beretta person. I've never really been either, because I've never really stuck with one. I've always swapped between them. Obviously, we have shot a couple of Berettas recently, and we have got the 688 review coming out in a couple of weeks, because we've just received that today. But like shooting the DT, again, that was one of those guns that I just picked up, and I really connected with the gun, and that's happened with the Browning. I'm not saying there's anything wrong at all with the Beretta. Just for me, personally, I found it a little bit too light, very, very fast out the front, and just a little bit too narrow and dainty between the hands. But this is the thing with this, it's all personal preference. It's all down to what suits you and what's fit you. But for me, the winner this week has got to be that 725 S1. Thank you for watching this week, guys. I'll be back to you next week with another video.